Welcome to episode 4 of this sneaker show. In this episode, we're going to be discussing the new movie Air. We're going to discuss everything that was great about it and everything I think the film missed out. Before we get into it, guys, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. Now, I was so excited to watch this film. You know, it's about everything I love, sneakers and business. It's a truly amazing story. You know, it's a story about sports. It's a story about mavericks and dreamers. There will be a lot of spoilers in this video, but you know, we all know how the story ends. Jordan signs tonight.
What? Nah, I never knew that.
I want to give you a bit of background as to why I know so much about this story and why I think I'm in a good position to review it and let you know everything that's been missed out. So last year, I spent months researching this exact same story, how Jordan signed tonight.
Who's Jordan again?
You know, I spent months researching it. I had so many notes. I had a full script ready to go. But when I launched my YouTube channel, I started to learn so much about editing, and I thought, you know what, this story is too extraordinary and too amazing to just, you know, just be made by a rookie editor. So I thought, you know, let me get some more experience and then I'm gonna create this video. But then one day I saw an announcement that Ben Affleck is actually making a movie on how Michael Jordan signed to Nike, and my initial reaction was like, all my time I had spent, and I'm talking I spent months, had just gone to waste, because you know, obviously he was gonna blow it out the water and do it much better than me. So you know, I calmed down, I thought about it, and I thought, you know, I could actually review the film and discuss whether they missed anything. Before jumping into the review, I want to remind you of some of the main characters of this movie and this story. So we have David Falk, we have Dolores Jordan, we have George Raveling, we have Howard White, we have Peter Moore, we have Phil Knight, Rob Strasser, and Sonny Vaccaro. Let's discuss the things I loved. There were 8 things that stood out to me. Firstly, the actors. Man, what a talented, funny group of actors. The film has such an amazing cast, and there were so many funny scenes. Roger and Richard scene in the toilet, you know, Falk and Sonny's sexual banter, and I think they did a great job in bringing out some of the personalities of the characters. You know, Phil Knight was shown as being very quirky and wise and philosophical, which is exactly, you know, how he's described by other people. I really enjoyed how they displayed his 10 principles throughout the film. The second point, which kind of bounces off the first one, was the production. Man, they really set the scene that it's 1984. You know, from the music, from the costumes, from the hairstyles. There's very specific insertions into the film to really set the tone nicely. The next best thing was how they accurately portrayed Nike as a struggling company. In 1984, Nike only had 17% of the sneaker market, whereas Adidas had 29% and Converse had 54%. In that year, Nike had to lay off a quarter of its workforce and had its first annual loss. And this was referenced very smoothly in the film. In 1984, Phil Knight opened his annual letter to shareholders with, "George Orwell was right. 1984 was a tough year." And this quote was referenced again in the movie very smoothly by Strasser, and it was just so nice for them trying to stick to the authenticity of the history. The fourth great thing was how Moore offered to work with Jordan to create the shoes. You know, the real story goes that Jordan had many complaints about Nike shoes. He thought that they were too high. He wanted the shoes to be closer to the ground like Adidas is. He thought the air bubble technology brought the shoes too high. He thought that the shoes did not have enough support. And it was great to see, again, another wink to the true story, with Moore trying to engage Jordan in that production process. The fifth great thing about this movie was the timing. In the last couple of years, Jordans had really blown up, you know. There's a lot more sneaker conventions recently. There's a lot more sneaker content from Amazon to YouTube. You know, we are seeing the resale market explode. We are seeing way more frequent releases. And what was it, like a year or two ago, we had The Last Dance. Prices of some OG releases like the Chicago's blew up. And a bonus has been seeing Ben Affleck bit by the sneaker bug. The sixth great thing about this film was how they illustrated the significance of Dolores Jordan. You know, Raveling at the beginning says the mum runs the Howard White tells Sonny how important it is to go through the mother. It was amazing to see her actually asking Converse and Adidas the questions that Sonny suggested, you know, really looking out for her son.
My mom taught me everything I know.
Like this, Michael. And now give it some razzle-dazzle.
Dolores Jordan has always been praised for her significance in the role of persuading and encouraging Jordan to sit down with Nike and hear them out and consider a potential endorsement deal, and without her, this deal probably wouldn't have happened. The seventh thing that the film portrayed really well is the journey. You know, we all know how the story ends, but how it showed the ups and downs of the story was so interesting and so nicely produced. It's incredible to think that one of the most successful deals in history was not even desired by one of the key parties. And the final thing I loved about this film is all the references to the shoe embodying Michael. Michael's greatness was the root of the longevity and success of the Air Jordan. Sonny describes him as a killer. He describes him as the most competitive guy. The shoe was a manifestation of Jordan. He is the shoe. One thing I loved was this quote that was repeated throughout the film. A shoe is just a shoe until someone steps into it, and then it has meaning. Now let's move on to some of the criticism of the film. I want to discuss 3 things that I think the film may have gotten wrong. The first one, the wings logo. So in the final pitch, Nike gives Jordan the Jordan 1. I don't think the shoe would have looked like that at that point. Let me tell you why I think this is wrong. So we have footage of early pairs without the wings. Jordan is photographed holding early pairs that just said Air Jordan on the side and there was no wings logos. And then on top of this, photos from archive samples showed that when the wings logo was imprinted on the Jordan 1, it didn't say Air Jordan. It just said Nike. So for Jordan to be given a shoe at the pitch which said Air Jordan with the wings logo, it just didn't seem to fit the timeline, and I wonder if, you know, that was an oversight or if they just wanted to include that. And my educated guess would be that, you know, with all the scramble to get the pitch ready and produce the shoe, I don't think they would have finalized that wings logo with the Air Jordan imprinted on the side just at that point yet. The second thing was all the discussion on the NBA rule. Now the NBA states that a player's shoe has to be 51% white, and it's been told that the Jordan 1 violated that, and as a result the NBA fined Nike. Nike brilliantly turned an NBA fine into a commercial and marketing win.
On October 18th, the NBA threw them out of the game. Fortunately, the NBA can't stop you from wearing them.
The narrative that the NBA banned the Jordan 1 created mystique around the shoe. You know, it created a sort of sinful desire towards the shoe. And as sexy and as appealing as that sounds, it's just not true. It's just not what happened. Let me explain. Looking at both the letter the NBA sent to Nike and also Nike's own advert, they reference October 18th, 1984. But there's one key problem. The Jordan 1 bread, also known as Jordan 1 band, wasn't actually worn by Michael until February 1985 in a slam dunk contest. What he actually wore in 1984, October 18th, was the Airship in an exhibition game against the Knicks. The Airship was a general release shoe that had a soft marketing push from Nike and a shoe that was worn by Jordan in his early Nike days. The shoes have almost identical color blocking, but they are not the same shoe, and the Airship is not the Jordan 1. This NBA rule was constantly mentioned throughout the film. You know, Sonny mentioned it, Straza mentioned it, Moore mentioned it, and even Michael's dad mentioned it. And I find it so difficult to believe that they were all aware of this rule. I mean, Phil Knight himself has come out to say,
it was a stroke of luck, really, that David Stern, who was commissioner of the NBA at the time, banned the shoe.
Phil Knight probably wasn't aware of the rule either, but in the film, everyone seems to know about it, and it seems to have been taken into consideration when actually producing the Jordan 1, and I just find that very hard to believe. It was discussed at a point of the timeline that didn't really fit the chronology, and I thought it was just a lazy attempt to fit that detail in, and it didn't really fit with the story well. You know, they are in the movie saying banned, the shoe's gonna get banned, all of that, but they are talking about the wrong shoe. And not even that, they're talking about the wrong colorway. They're showing the Chicago's and saying that's gonna get banned, but we all know it was the bread ones that was, you know, as the myth goes, that was banned. And you know, it's the bread colorway on the airships that was actually banned. It might have been exciting to watch, but the detail doesn't actually reflect what happened in reality. I can't be mad at Ben Affleck though for getting this wrong, because even ChatGPT made the same mistake. The final thing I thought that the film probably got wrong is whether Sonny actually ever went to the Jordan's house. In my research, I have never seen any mention of this, and other publishers have also shed some doubt as to whether this actually happened. You know, it's been reported that Falk was the one that convinced Dolores Jordan and the father to encourage Michael to sit down with Nike and hear what they have to say. So again, I wonder if this was just another attempt to make the storyline a bit more exciting and to really make Sonny the hero. Now I want to discuss a couple of things I thought the film missed out. The first one, in the meeting with Converse, it was actually Jordan that asked them, "Don't you guys have any new innovative ideas?" Next, the counter offer. After Nike submitted their offer, Falk went back to Adidas and Converse and told them that Jordan would make a deal with them if they just came close to Nike's offer, but they didn't, and I think that would have been really funny to see in the film. My next point is on Adidas. There was actually another reason why they let Jordan slip away. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Adidas executives at the time thought that Jordan was too short. Adidas' biggest superstar at the time was Lakers' Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was 7 feet 2 inches, whereas Jordan was only 6'6", and they thought German shoppers would prefer someone a bit taller. I mean, that's just ridiculous, but you know, that's what it's been reported, and I think that also would have been really funny to see in the film. Next, Sonny's personality. Matt Damon plays someone who's very charming, quite trustworthy, well put together, but there are reports that suggest that Sonny was actually quite shady. You know, there's evidence that suggests he might be quite egoistic. He once said, "Phil Knight's lying, Michael's lying more than Phil unraveling is insane. Everyone's trying to rewrite history. It goes beyond Jordan. I am the savior of Nike." Now, I'm not saying he is egoistic or shady. I'm just reflecting on what's been reported, and I saw none of that in the movie. So please don't sue the publishers. Before we move on, I want to discuss 3 things I didn't like about the movie. The first thing was how Sonny all of a sudden was so keen to get Jordan. He was just tunnel vision because he saw one clip of him playing and realized a play. Like, yeah, I do agree. Sonny acknowledged that Jordan was greatness. No doubt. The build-up wasn't there. It just seemed a bit cliche. The second thing I didn't like about the movie, and you know, it upset me quite a bit, was the lack of George Raveling we saw, played by Marlon Wayans. You know, we saw one scene with him and Sonny quite early on into the film, and then at the end, just before the credits, we see him mentioned as, you know, one of the superstars of the deal and him getting some credit. But we saw none of his, you know, his work in the movie. And you know, we had such an amazing actor playing him. I think Marlon Wayans is hilarious. Any movie I've watched him in, you know, he cracks me up. And I think we should have seen more of him in the film. You know, Michael Jordan himself has said it was Raveling more than Sonny that pushed him to sign with Nike. But in the film, we saw none of that. Yeah, he was credited just before the scenes. All we saw Raveling saying was, "I put a good word for you guys in the Olympics." That's it. Now the final thing, and I say it with a heavy heart, was the decision to leave Michael out. I understand the reasoning. He is just too big to be played. And Jordan actually told Ben Affleck that he wanted the other characters to shine in this film. But it would have been great to see him in the film, and it would have made the story a bit more accurate. And you know, his distaste for Nike is purely comedic, and it would have been so funny to see that. The segment is over, but I just want to say one final thing. Why on earth did they have an eBay authenticity tag in the trailer? They might as well have been calling each other on iPhones. Like, that just made no sense. And first time I watched the trailer, I was like, am I bugging out? What is going on? That was a very weird slip up. So there you have it. You know, I've criticized this film quite a bit now, but I don't want you to think that I didn't like this film. I just wanted to give you some thoughts and insights which you may not have had. You know, let me say it again. I love this film. I thought it was great. You know, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't have watched it twice. The film was amazing. It was funny. The storyline is just incredible. You know, it's a story about greatness, of how business savviness and pure raw talent came together to produce something that was timeless. The Jordan brand. The deal generated $162 million in revenue in just the first year. In the annual report following the Jordan 1, Phil Knight called it the perfect combination of quality product, marketing, and athlete endorsement. The Jordan 1 used elements from the airship to create something that was bold, bright, fashionable, and with great function. And we saw all of these amazing design elements continue in further silhouettes that Jordan Brand would release. Phil Knight in the movie said that basketball shoes were just worn on court, and it was great to see the Jordan 1 break out of this mold. Jordan brand grew so much that in 1997 it became its own subsidiary under the Nike umbrella. Its astronomical growth has continued ever since, and it's become part of mainstream culture. I hope that, you know, from this movie we will have much more understanding of the origins of the Jordan brand and the sneaker culture, and also a lot more engagement with the sneaker community. My people, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and I hope you've enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you have any friends that might be interested in the content, please share it with them, and I'm always open to suggestions, so leave a comment down below as to what kind of content you'd like to see next. If you haven't already, check the other episodes of the Sneaker Show. I have lots of sneaker content and lifestyle videos, and I hope you enjoy them. Till next time, love y'all.